Our rules are simple, but the challenge is great. No shoulder pets, tames that can be carried, or typical boss dinos allowed. That means no Rexes, Therazinos, or any other dinos people normally use in these fights. Equipped with official server cap saddles, our 19 contenders will be backed by the commanding presence of a loyal Uteranus providing that extra boost. All competitors will go into battle with food to provide a healing effect. Herbivores will have plenty of sweet veggie cakes, and carnivores and omnivores will have cooked meat. No Overseer, because the movement speed required to get through the tech cave then chase the Overseer during the fight would shorten our list by a lot. It's important to note that tames in this series aren't typically used during boss battles because of the amount of mutations it would take to make them competitive. I'll be applying around 23,000 health and 1200% melee through mutations and experience levels to all dinos that compete. This will give them all a fair shot at defeating at least one of the Guardians. It won't always be feasible to reach these stats depending on the dinos I'm using, but I will let you know the amount of mutations and levels it took in order to reach it. All competitors start out with 50 base health and melee and 40 points in everything else before I apply mutations and experience levels. Use this information and decide on your own servers if the juice is worth the squeeze. Competitors are required to fight the Megapithecus, Broodmother, then Dragon on all difficulties, starting with Gamma, then Beta, finishing with Alpha. Their success will be annotated on this scorecard with a pass or fail system. Now let's introduce our competitor and see if they have what it takes. Pachyrhinosaurus. This gentle fart blossom is passive unless attacked and can let out some interesting gas clouds. One has a calming effect that makes creatures lose aggro, and the other is a rage effect that makes everything aggro, including typically passive creatures. That's how it works in the wild. Unfortunately, tamed ones with no riders don't play the butt trumpet, and honestly, it probably wouldn't affect the bosses either way, but it would be nice to make the boss minions lose aggro. The Pachyrhinosaurus takes significantly reduced damage from the front, but only comes with a 99.2 max armor saddle. The stats required for this competition were reached with 40 mutations and 68 experience levels. 15 mutations and 38 levels went into health, and 25 mutations and 30 levels went into melee. Now let's see if they have what it takes. The green portal was up and the underpacks are ready to charge into the Gamma Megapithecus arena. I think a charge attack would have been cool, but if you watch the trike video, it's probably a good thing that they don't charge. The wannabe trikes have okay damage, but their rate of attack is pretty terrible, and I could tell right away that we'd be struggling later on since half of them couldn't attack the Megapithecus. Herbivores had the advantage of sweet veggie cakes, so honestly they could probably only hit for 100 damage and they'd still win this fight. Gamma Megapithecus is very easy, and the underpacks demonstrate the truth to that and earn their first pass. The Gamma Broodmother was up next, and I was kind of curious how this would work out. The underpacks are larger than most of the creatures we've used, but they're not that big, and unfortunately their size is just small enough to make it so the Broodmother can hit them even when they're not directly in front of her. It wasn't always like that, and some creatures really struggle with this. All in all, it wasn't that bad of a performance. I could tell the Uranios would be a problem because of the low saddle caps and the fact that they'd be hitting it from the back, those dirty heathens. The Gamma Broodmother was no match for the gassed up, unnecessarily long-named dinos, and they earned their second pass. Gamma Dragon time, baby, and the underpacks were clunky enough to give me some concern. You see, smaller creatures can get up under the dragon and hit him in the toes while avoiding his bite and fire attack. The Pachyrhinosaurus isn't quite small enough to make this a consistent thing. There were times when I could get them in there and avoid most of the damage, but sometimes it was completely unavoidable. Herbivores take priority on the aggro list, so anytime the dragon would take off and then land, the entire squad would take a face full of fire. To make matters worse, as you can see, not all of them attack. With the help of the veggie cakes, I think they'd be able to at least beat Beta, but we'd have to see. For now, Gamma is cleared with our third pass. Blue portal time is Beta time, and the Beta Megapithecus is up next. The Pachyrhinosaurus has a mechanic, at least in the wild, where if they get low on health, they'll let out a ripper and blanket the area with a calming gas and run away. I was curious if they'd be doing that in these fights as they get low on health, but the Beta Megapithecus is not the guy to do it. He can't outdamage the veggie cakes, and this war of attrition leans heavily in the underpack's favor. I hadn't noticed any rage gas yet, so I had my doubts that the other mechanic would work. The Beta Megapithecus is a piece of cake, and the underpacks get their fourth pass. Beta Broods is up next, and I'd like to say this is where the cracks show, but it's more like this is where the gaping holes open up. The Uranios are dealing a ton of damage from the back and the sides of the underpacks, and the Broodmother is landing some heavy shots. It wouldn't take long, and I noticed that the damage that the Broodmother and her bastard children are dishing out was outpacing the healing of the veggie cakes. I expected that, and honestly, the underpacks came close. I did this fight a few times because whenever I lose, I try again, just in case the loss was my fault or bad luck or maybe a bug. This was the closest that we got, and they almost had it. Unfortunately, that's going to be their first set of fails though. The beta dragon is up next, and the underpacks struggle to get some shots off on this guy. He takes off a lot in this fight, and the underpacks just take too much damage from the lack of a good saddle and the amount of fire breaths they take. While we watch them die, let's talk about Scorched Earth. It comes out tomorrow, allegedly. I will be starting another series on Scorched Earth, of course, so I'm excited for that. I truly hope the center isn't too far behind because I'd like to see the art community get a nice surge of returning players. It won't change the Underdog series, I'll be continuing this for the long haul, even though the interest has dwindled significantly. We only have a few more episodes left before the finale, and then I'll start doing some modded creatures. Oh, and if you've noticed, while I was yapping, the underpacks start running away at low health. So that's pretty terrible. The beta dragon tore through the underpacks and then ripped him a new asshole. That's another fail. The red portal is up, and that means it's time for that friendly neighborhood Alpha Megapithecus. The underpacks are able to surround him easily, and they don't get knocked back like some of the smaller creatures, so that makes this a little bit more manageable. Back when I started this series, I had high hopes for some of these tanky creatures like the trike, Pachyrhinosaurus, the turtle, the Doedicurus, but damn, that lower saddle armor is so detrimental. Don't get me wrong, they're great soakers for turrets and PvP and stuff, but when they're surrounded by a bunch of shit-tossing apes or hungry spiders, things can go south real quick. It takes a while, but eventually the underpacks are able to whittle down the Alpha Megapithecus until he gets put into the dirt, capping the night off with a pass. Heading over to the scoreboard, the underpacks are awarded a bronze boom medal. If you're new to the channel, gold is for a full clear, silver is for clearing beta, bronze is for clearing gamma, and shit is for shit. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to help this community grow. I love interacting with everyone in the comments, so please feel free to hit me up with some feedback. You can also reach out to me on any of the social media I have on my channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.